Dark Quest was originally released in 2015. The sequel followed up in 2018, with it now making its way over to the PlayStation 4. But is one a quintessential quest that you must take, or should it just be left in the dark? Dark Quest 2 is a dungeon-crawling game featuring a party of heroes that you slowly start to unlock for a total of 6, but you can only take up to 4 in battle. The game has a hub village where you're going to be doing most of your building of your characters, from using magical vials to buy new abilities, to using your money in order to buy new equipment. The dungeon itself is broken up into many different squares, and each square is a quest in its own. Once you complete that quest, you unlock the other quest nearby. As the rooms start to branch off in the different parts of this large dungeon, you'll find some bonus rooms for some extra loot, as well as you can redo rooms repeatedly in order to gain extra experience, and these quests do become more difficult as you repeat them. Once you enter into the dungeon itself for a quest, you're met with the isometric view where you're able to move about your characters. You can move them freely if there's no enemies on screen, but as soon as an enemy appears on screen, it then goes to the turn-based combat. Each character in your party has their main weapons. Some are short-ranged, you have ranged attack characters, as well as they each have their own abilities, and you'll have to earn and unlock these abilities throughout the game by getting different vials of magic. Defeating certain enemies in dungeons or entering into certain rooms will grant you one of these magic vials, so when you make it back to the village, you can then spend it to buy and upgrade the various abilities. You have ones that you'll have to activate your own, and there are passive abilities as well. These are honestly essential for being able to best some of the harder fights in the game, and there's a lot of times when you get into the more intense combat, you'll probably exhaust every single ability of all of your characters in order to be successful. No character really stood out as better than all of the rest. I was able to spread out my abilities, and with a nice balanced team, I was able to do pretty well. However, the tides could turn very quickly if the enemy was able to best even just one of my characters. Removing my healer or removing my ranged attack could be critical to being able to survive. Thankfully, you can retreat from a battle. You'll lose 50% of the gold that you've gathered on that quest, but at least it's not a complete wipeout or anything like that. If a character dies, you will need to spend money to resurrect them, but it's based off of the percentage of the gold that you have. So whatever amount of gold you have, only a percentage of that will be used in order to resurrect your character, so you're never going to be stuck without any of your characters. The game features 3 difficulties as well to give you more or less health basically for each of your characters, defaultly going into the quest. While there wasn't a ton of different enemies, I thought there was an okay variety to the various goblins and other creatures that you end up battling throughout the course of the game. When you have multiple different types of enemies with different abilities each, the fights can get pretty intense with a lot going on. The only thing that really bothered me with fights is it seemed like I missed all the time. It's very random whether or not you're going to be able to actually land any of your hits. Thankfully, it does tell you the percentage of whether or not you're going to be able to land the hit at the bottom of the screen before you even decide to attack a certain enemy, but it still seemed more often than not I was missing, and sometimes missing 7 or 8 times in a row before finally landing a single hit. The game is centered around the one dungeon that you get to explore. Thankfully, backgrounds do change up a bit, but I wish there were more varieties to the settings and such as you got to explore the various rooms. A lot of quests felt very much the same, even if the design of the dungeon was slightly different. I also wish there was more depth put into the equipment system, being able to add armor or different weapons. It's more of an accessory system for being able to equip an item that gives a slight bonus to characters than an actual equipment system where you feel like you're gaining new, more powerful weaponry for each of the classes. I think the game will mostly appeal to more old school gamers than new, but there's not a ton of depth, whether it be the equipment or stat building or anything like that in here that a lot of dungeon crawling enthusiasts would really want to sink their teeth into. However, what is here with the turn-based dungeon exploring combat, I did enjoy. Even with it based around just the one dungeon, it still has a fair amount of length to it. It took me about 6.5 hours in order to beat it, and of course that may take you even longer if you're playing on harder difficulties and making sure that you do every path. From the technical side of things, I'm happy the the game did not crash on me. There was a couple little minor hiccups here and there, but it was nothing egregious. Dark Quest 2 is available now on the PlayStation 4 for $14.99. It unfortunately does not have a Platinum trophy. The game is also available on Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Overall, the old school gamer in me enjoyed most of Dark Quest 2. I definitely wish there was more depth put into some of the systems, but for the most part, the well-balanced combat and thinking my way through each of the turn-based battles was enjoyable, and it felt satisfying when I was able to complete some of those harder battles, especially the boss fights. I think the price is about right for what you're going to end up getting out of it, but you still may want to wait a little bit for a sale. I'm going to be giving Dark Quest 2 a 7 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.